Okay. So now, welcome. Okay. So special expression of gratitude to Tasia Kadosh of 7613, the Chosen Path online community. She donated the camera and microphone we're using now to help my rabbinical teachings online to be more efficient. So thanks for that. And of course, most of all, thanks Hashem who arranged this idea. All right. So we're trying to serve Hashem. This is the week that Tisha B'Av falls out on. If you have any Tisha B'Av questions or perhaps on the Book of Lamentations, Echa, please let us know. And then we could just answer a quick question on that. Now we're going to learn Psalm 64. And I recall that, just wanted to mention in remembrance of Tisha B'Av, I was thinking about the prayer of King Solomon at the dedication of the temple. And he went out of his way. It's written in the Book of Kings and in also in Chronicles that Solomon prayed that even Gentiles who come to the temple should be listened to. Their prayers should be heard. And in the Hebrew, he uses the word nachri, which usually refers to someone who's an idolater. So even if someone hasn't repented their idolatry, the temple used to give them blessing that the God of Israel would bless them and listen to the prayer with an extra measure. And that is what was lost to the world when the Babylonians destroyed the temple. Would you all like to discuss that? Just to quote a couple verses on that before we get to the Psalms class. It won't be too
That'll
much of
be
a
good. That's
discrepancy for
good.
you.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Okay, great. Okay, so then after that, we'll pause this class and save it as a separate class, a mini class.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look in the Book of Kings, First Kings. I think it was around chapter 6. Maybe chapter 8, somewhere. Yeah, chapter 8. Okay. First Kings chapter 8. Verse 41. So in the Stone Edition Art Scroll Tanakh, that would be on page 825 in English. I'll also say the Hebrew on page 824. So the verses 41, 42, and 43. V'gam el pri asher lo Yisrael hu uva me'eretz rechoka leman shemecha ki yishmun es shimcha hagadol v'esyadcha zaka zra hanatuya uva v'yispal el habayis hazeh ואתה תשמע השמיים מכון שבטך ועשית ככל אשר יקראו אליך אנחנו למען ידעו כל עמי הארץ אשמך לירא עושך עמך ישראל ולדעת כי שמך נקרא על הבית הזה אשר בניתי. Okay, so verses 41 through 43, we get a volume translator. That's 825 in the Stone Edition Tanakh.
Okay. So it says, also a Gentile who is not of your people Israel, but will come from the distant land of your name's sake. For they will hear of your great name and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and will come and pray towards this temple. May you hear from heaven the foundation of your abode and act according to all that the Gentile calls out to you, so that all the peoples of the world may know your name, to fear you, as does your people Israel, and to know that your name is proclaimed upon this temple that I have built.
Okay, so that is First Kings chapter 8, verse 41 through 43. Now let's go to Second Chronicles chapter 6. Chapter 6, I was thinking about. Okay, this would on
Second Chronicles.
this would be page 1953 in the Art Scroll Stone edition, Tanakh.
Okay.
And I'll read the Hebrew. Whereas it was 3 verses, here it's two longer verses. וגם על הנכרי אשר לא מעמך ישראל הוא ובא מארץ רחוקה למען שמך הגדול וידך החזק הזרוע הנטויה ויספלו אל הבית הזה ואתה תשמע מן השמיים ממכון שבטך ועשית ככל אשר יקרא אליך הנכרי למען ידעו הארץ את שמך ולירא עושך כעמך ישראל ולדעת כי שמך נקרא על הבית אשר בניתי. Okay, please translate 32 and 33 in Second Chronicles chapter 6, page 1953 in the Art Scroll Stone in Tanakh.
Okay. Also a Gentile who is not of your people Israel, but will come from a distant land for your great name's sake, and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and they come to pray in this temple. May you hear from heaven the foundation of your abode, and act according to all that the Gentile calls out to you, so that all the nations of the world may know your name, to fear you, as does your people Israel, and to know that your name is proclaimed upon this temple that I have built.
So it's really amazing. Before God spoke about light unto the nations, it was already understood that was Israel's mission. Right? Unto nations with Isaiah and the generation Hezekiah. And here we're talking about King Solomon, who was also prophet. In both cases, he says on this house that I built. Blessing may have been stronger by the first temple.
Russell, tell him that we lost him.
Rabbi, can you hear me? Because we can't hear you. We've lost you. And if you can hear us, we still can't hear you.
He's gone. That's what I said.
Oh, on here.
Yeah. On your tablet, send him a text.
I thought.
If you want, if you guys want, you can send me both files and I can try to splice them together and send you one recording of both together.
I can't send a file that size. I don't have the ability to do that.
Oh.
It'll be one now.
It's all from the best. It's from Hashem. Thank God that we're blessed to be able to learn any Torah at all. And it's just Chesed Hashem. If we're able to add more Torah tonight, so it's only from the kindness of Hashem. And if I remember what I tried to prepare for the class, it's only from the kindness of Hashem. And when I say it correctly without error, it's only from the kindness of Hashem. So all these things are just it's about what Hashem wants. If He doesn't want us to learn tonight, we have to be prepared for that option as well. It's the week of Tisha B'Av. It's understandable that disappointing things may occur, but again, here we're trying to teach about the concept that it's not just what the Babylonians took from the Jewish people. It's what the Babylonians took from all people of all the world. The verses in Kings chapter 8, First Kings chapter 8, and Second Chronicles chapter 6 connect the Solomon's prayer that the Gentiles be heard, not just to righteous Gentiles, but even to Nachri, which usually stands for an idolatrous Gentile. So even someone who's unrepentant, Solomon wanted them to have extra measure of success if they prayed in respect to the Creator of the world or the temple. Okay, so now if you look in the article translation, page 825 and page 1953 in the stone Tanakh. So he says, okay, in verse 42 in 1 Kings chapter 8, for they will hear of your great name and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, and they will come and pray towards this temple. It uses the terminology towards. In other words, maybe this blessing could still work even in a generation where there's only a wall. But if they pray towards the temple, even if they're not in the temple, you understand? Now, but if we look in Chronicles, it says in the Art Scroll translation, verse 32, also a Gentile who is not of your people, Israel, but will come from a distant land for your great name's sake and your strong hand and your outstretched arm, they will come to pray in this temple. That implies that the Babylonians destroyed blessing to the world for everyone, for certain. But the translation on Kings is more hopeful that even at the wall, it's not meaningless to pray at the wall. Okay, but let's look at the original Hebrew. Okay, so again, the Art Scroll translation on Kings, it says pray to the temple, which could include the external wall. And Art Scroll translation on Second Chronicles, it says pray within the temple. Okay, but let's look at the original Hebrew. What does it say? Okay, let's see. Okay, so verse 42, 1 Kings chapter 8. Looking at the Hebrew, el habayis, and they come and they pray to this house. So it's hopeful that it's worthwhile even for a Gentile to pray at the wall of the temple, even if the rest of the temple is destroyed. You see, because he uses the terminology to the temple, it doesn't say within the temple. Now let's look in Second Chronicles, which Art Scroll translates as "come pray in this temple." Uvo vispalalu el habayis. That's Second Chronicles verse 6, end of verse 32. They should come and pray to this place, to this house. It says to. It doesn't say in this temple. So we see the Art Scroll translation is in Chronicles is not literal. The Art Scroll translation in Kings is literal. So therefore, there's still hope. It's not utterly cut off from Solomon's blessing. The prophet of God Solomon, that the Gentiles should be heard if they pray towards the temple, even if they're praying at the wall. Okay, but that was by the first temple, because we see that King Solomon says, upon this house which I built. That wasn't the second temple, right? So certainly there's an implication that the first temple's blessing from Solomon that Gentiles should be heard was at a higher level, greater intensity. but the terminology itself lends itself to say that there's still some residual benefits to pray to the temple, even in a generation without the temple. But the wall, the western wall in Jerusalem, that is from the second temple. So it's not the house that Solomon built. Nevertheless, the terminology prayed to this house. Okay. So we know where the house is, because the wall is like a marker. It tells us where the house is. So therefore, it's good to pray towards it, but it's also possible that we don't know the extent of the loss that was given to the world, the entire world, when the Babylonians destroyed the first temple, because that was for sure blessed by Solomon to have automatic answering of even Nachri, even an idolatrous Gentile, not just a righteous Gentile. So that's just one of the factors that the Babylonians messed with. So when we come to Tisha B'Av later this week, and we're thinking about the Book of Lamentations and the destruction of the temple, so it's just another layer. The Babylonians not only attacked the temple in Jerusalem, they attacked the welfare of the entire world. And it's something to consider. So now we're in a generation where the majority of rabbis I know are saying Mashiach's about to come, so the temple will soon be rebuilt, and we're going to have a reversal of this process. But it's important to first understand what was lost before you could really replace it. So the horror of the destruction of Jerusalem by the Babylonians affects everyone, and the horror of the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans didn't help anything. So it's just good to be aware of that, especially this week as we're going to have the Tisha B'Av later on this week. All right, any questions before we pause this short class and continue with the Book of Psalms? Any questions? All right, let's pause here and continue with the Book of Psalms immediately afterwards. God willing.